Hey, 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 happy Wednesday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. Yes, I am the founder and editor-in-chief of the Gaming Gang. Welcome aboard. Tonight is Wednesday, October 13th, 2021. This is live stream 703. If it's your first time joining me, let me point out, super casual. We're just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, as well as taking a look at a tabletop game. So tonight, we are going to take a first look at the standalone adventure for Pathfinder. It is a high-level adventure as well. It is The Night of the Grey Death, or Night of the Grey Death, not The Night. So that's what we're going to be taking a peek at tonight. Once again, if you've never tuned in before, let me point out, first part of the show is devoted to the tabletop gaming news. And then usually after about 30 minutes or so, we jump on into the first look. So if you're watching live, kick back, relax. We will get to the look at Night of the Grey Death in just a little bit. But if you're watching after the fact, in fact, about 10 minutes or so, 10 to 15 minutes after the stream finishes, there will be timestamps. So if you don't want to check out the news, even though there's some cool stuff, you can always just hop ahead by clicking on one of those timestamps. Easy peasy. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings, it will also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my first look at Dungeons & Dragons Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. Yes. And I should point out, if you check out that video, you're going to find out how you can get into the running to win this copy of the alternate art edition of Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. And as with all the contests I always do, it's easy to get in the running to win. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Also, throughout most of the month of October, the Gaming Gang and the Gaming Gang Dispatch are sponsored by
RockCon is back the weekend of October 22nd to the 24th in Rockford, Illinois. Come out for a great weekend of gaming, including historical, fantasy, and sci-fi miniatures, role-playing, war games, and a wide variety of games for the whole family. Buy and sell at the silent auction on Saturday. Vendors from around the region will be available for your shopping pleasure. Don't miss out on all the fun. Visit rock-con.com for details.
all the gaming your friends will ever need, RockCon. That's right, RockCon is taking place October 22nd, 23rd, and 24th in Rockford, Illinois. I will be hanging out there. That's right. I will be attending RockCon. So if you are planning on swinging on through and you happen to see me hanging out, be sure to say hello and don't hit me. I'm telling you right now, do not hit me. Just joking. So I'm looking forward to this. Looking forward to a nice, nice, relaxing, smaller convention. And that is, as far as I understand, how RockCon normally is. There's miniatures gaming, war games, board games, role-playing games. There's a tons of different stuff going on. Finally, do want to mention this is a live stream. So that also means there's chat available. That's right. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe you got a question, a comment, by all means, please chime in and I will do my best to respond. Looks like we've got a good chat already rocking and rolling. The Madman, yes, the Motor City Madman has arrived. He is one of our chat moderators. He was first out the gate saying howdy tonight. John Vogel's with us. No, it is not a War Game Wednesday, John. Sorry to say, unfortunately, I got to be honest, there has not been much by way of war games that have come my way recently. I know GMT has experienced some issues with shipping. So there are some releases that they had hopefully planned that have not arrived yet. I think Worthington's got the same thing going on. So no War Game Wednesdays for the foreseeable future. But once again, that changes like that. You know, I might get a box from GMT that's got 3 or 4 games in it. Or I get a box from Worthington with a couple of games. We'll mention that there are some wargaming reviews coming up, though. So stay tuned for that. Also, hanging out in chat is Kevin R. Smith, one of our contributors to the Gaming Gang. Check out Kevin's reviews of the 2, count them 2, core books for Achtung Cthulhu 2D20 from Modifius Entertainment. Flaming Huron's with us as well. That is our other chat moderator. Very nice. Nicholas Stanishek is here. And I think I am caught up. So Nicholas points out that people are angry about Fizbins in early reviews. I don't know what they're angry about. I got to be very, very honest. I have, outside of the first look, I have not cracked it open yet. I plan on probably diving into it late this weekend. It's just I've got other stuff that needs to be taken care of. So I probably will not have my review for Fizbin's Treasury of Dragons maybe middle of next week, maybe a week from tomorrow-ish, because it doesn't hit stores till the 26th. And what I usually like to do is I like to have my review come out 2 or 3 days ahead of time. Not super early, but not after the street date. So Flaming Heron saying monks are extremely overpowered in their opinion. Nicholas says they nerfed the monk and changed lore. This is how I look at things. And we're going to, before we start looking at the Pathfinder adventure tonight, there's something I'm going to get into a little bit. Not a lot, but I'm a little salty tonight. And I'll kind of tell you why after the news. But to be angry about a role-playing game, to me, makes absolutely no sense. Yeah, you can be disappointed, or you could be sitting there going, I don't like this, but angry. And I know Nicholas is not overreacting. I'm sure people are angry. But to me, that's silly. Yeah, if you have that huge a beef with a role-playing game, I got an idea for you. Go play a different role-playing game. Don't know what to tell ya. All right, let's jump on into the news, because I got a nice eclectic mix of news tonight. Coming from Pegasus Spiele in Q1 2022 is First Rats. Here's the scoop. A rocket building game for 1 to 5 rat friends. Yeah, so the Skaven, right? Is that it? Yeah, ratlings, yeah. For generations, the rats in the old junkyard have been telling each other the great legend about a moon made out of cheese, and they want nothing more than to reach this inexhaustible treasure one day. One day, the little rat children discovered a comic in the junkyard that described the first landing on the moon, and thus the plan was born. Build a rocket and take over the cheese moon. Damn you, cheese moon! We shall conquer you and your cheese moon minions. No, there's not. No cheese moon minions. Fortunately, the junkyard has everything the rats need to build their rocket, and the other animals are willing to support this daring venture, at least if they're well paid. Of course, all the rats work together to achieve this mighty goal. However, each rat family competes to build the most rocket parts and to train the most ratanauts so they can feast on as much of that lunar cheese as possible. Each player is going to start with 2 rats and may raise 2 more. On a player's turn, they can move rats toward the rocket, collect resources, go shopping, build rocket parts, which is optional, and donate cheese. There are score tracks for the built parts and cheese provisions. The game ends when a player moves their 4th rat onto the launch pad. In this case, the game ends at the end of the current round so that all players will have the same number of turns. B, a player places their 8th score marker. In this case, finish the current round and then play 1 additional round. Then the game ends. The player with the most points wins. In the event of a tie, the tied player with the most ratanauts in the rocket wins. If there's still a tie, then the cat massacres all the rats and everybody loses. Nah, I'm just joking. If there's still a tie, the tied players will share the win. There's also a solo mode as well as variable game setups described in the rulebook. First Rat is for 1 to 5 players ages 10 and up, plays in around 30 to 75 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $39.99 when it arrives early next year. So when I first ran across this, I thought, what? Like, what? This actually sounds like it could be fun. I don't know why they've cut off the board in that picture, though. That kind of threw me off. And unfortunately, like a lot of Pegasus Spiele games that have not released yet, there aren't a ton of images available. But one is showing kind of the game board, but it's cut off. It's like, come on, you couldn't fit the whole game board in the photo? What's going on? But this could be kind of interesting and probably fun for the families as well. So let's see. So some discussion still going on about Fizbin's Treasury of Dragons. Flaming Heron says, people just want a reason to be outraged and you can't please everyone. There you go. We're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about that in just a bit. On to my next news piece. There's an interesting looking Euro game that's arriving at Spiel. It's from Delicious Games. Here's the dope on Messina 1347. Messina 1347 takes place during the introduction of the plague epidemic, aka the Black Death. Although at the time they did not call it the Black Death. We will get into that when I'm done with this little news piece. And the spreading of its infection through town. During this time period, merchant ships delivering luxury goods to Europe brought to these countries an unprecedented epidemic, and one of the first affected cities was Messina, Italy. In the game, players take the role of important Messina families who are leaving town and moving to the countryside out of fear of being infected by the plague. While doing this, they're focusing on saving other inhabitants and helping to fight the plague infection in town. They must also endeavor to prosper in their countryside residence. where they are temporarily accommodating rescued residents. They're all waiting there for the epidemic to subside. Then they return to Messina to take over and dominate particular districts in the town. Messina 1347 is for 1 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, plays in around 45 to 120 minutes. I don't have any MSRP info, but you should probably expect the game to be available here in the States either later this year or very early next year. I do know that there are a multitude of people out there who have already provided previews and reviews of this. So, and usually in a case like that, I don't share a news piece because it's like, yeah, why would I? Right? Yeah. Go talk to the other people. Let them go do news pieces. But I thought this looked kind of cool. I thought this looked pretty interesting. And this is a pretty small game company. I believe they're out of the Czech Republic. But I thought it was interesting because they call it the Black Death. But it wasn't actually known as the Black Death until, I want to say, the 16th century. Or it may have even been the 17th century. Because while the plague was going on, and there were multiple plagues, it was known as the Great Pestilence or the Great Mortality. It was never referred to as the Black Death, which I always find kind of interesting when people are trying to, put do a historical spin on things, and they're like referring to it as the Black Death in contemporary terms, and it's like, no, that was not it. So here's a question for you, real quick, since we're on the topic. So was this plague the bubonic plague or the pneumonic plague? Tell me in chat what you think. Because I always found that the answer to be actually pretty interesting. As I grab a quick sip. So let's see. Checking out some discussion here. So Nicholas says that they did an interview with Zach S. The Zach S. I think you're talking about Zach S. Huh. I don't know. I interviewed him years ago before the big stink, and I ended up not even using the interview, to be very honest. Nicholas is saying that we used to have a somewhat united community. Now the community is fractured and people are more focused on what they hate rather than they love. That I disagree with. We have always had a fractured community, and people have always complained about role-playing games that they did not play for decades. So it's not something new. So if you played villains and vigilantes 20 years ago, you were like, yeah, champions, big champions of hell. So Disavowed 92 says this game looks decent. I've heard some whispers on the wind, but I will not say anything. I heard it's decent. So Nicholas says, yeah, Zach Smith. Okie doke. All righty. Hope you enjoyed that interview. All right, moving right along. Wizards of the Coast has revealed a new Dungeons & Dragons adventure book based on the latest season of Critical Role. Here's the skinny on Call of the Netherdeep. Can you change your fate? An epic Critical Role campaign for the world's greatest role-playing game. The greed of mortals has awakened a powerful entity long thought destroyed. For eons, this mighty champion of the gods has been imprisoned in the darkest depths of Exandria. His name has been forgotten, but his heroic deeds have also been forgotten. Languishing in despair, he calls out for new heroes to save him. Inspired by the campaigns of the hit series Critical Role, this adventure begins in the wastes of Horhas and leads to the glimmering oasis city of Ankara on the continent of Marquette. And from there into a sunken realm of gloom, corruption, and sorrow known as the internet. No, known as the Nether Deep. Above it all, the red moon of Rudius watches, twisting the fates of those who have the power to shape the course of history. Critical Role Call of the Nether Deep contains 7 chapters of thrilling adventure, new creatures and magic items, and a poster map of Ankara. It's the first major adventure module within Critical Role's world of Exandria, taking players from levels 3 to 12, which I find very unusual. It's the first adventure in this setting. I'm very surprised the player characters are not starting out at first level. How are they supposed to get to third level? I don't know. It's a multi-continental story that spans the scarred wastes of Zaharis, introduces the continent of Marquette, and eventually plunges players into the Nether Deep, a terrifying cross between the far realm and the deep ocean. Bursting with lore and all-new art depicting Xandria, it includes new magic items and creatures and introduces new rival NPCs. This book is going to be available everywhere on March 15th, 2022. It's going to carry an MSRP of $49.95. Got to be honest, that's about all we know. I had to dig deep just to find these images I'm sharing with you right now. So, in reality, the only image that's pretty easy to find is the cover, and that's it. So, we were talking about people being angry. I am certain that there are probably some 5e game masters and players out there who are not happy that this has been announced, and they're still waiting for insert their favorite setting here instead. So I'm sure there are people out there saying, hey, what the hell? No Spelljammer. What's going on? No Dragonlance? What the hell? I'm pretty sure. I am pretty sure that there are people out there a little ticked. But here's the thing. It's an adventure book, at least. At least it's not a setting book. And I think you would see more people verbally calling this out if it were a setting book. But it is an adventure, so you know, it's a D&D adventure. You can tear it apart, use it however you want. You don't have to keep it in, the Critical Role setting. So Kevin says they think Critical Role usually starts their campaigns at second level, which makes sense since first level is the level everybody wants to get through quickly. Yeah, usually. Yeah, I would say. Flaming Heron says, well, this day and age, most games that they've run or been involved with, the characters start at third level. Maybe that's the logic. Nicholas says the same, too, that folks want to start at level 3. Man, I just don't. Sometimes I just don't get some of the thinking as far as role-playing games, where because it's gotten to the point where it just feels like there's just so many players who they really don't even care about the adventures. It's all about their characters. And it's like, yeah, okay. So why don't we just sit around the table and you guys could all like regale me with tales of your characters that, had nothing to do with the game we're playing. All right. Hey, speaking of 5e, pre-orders have begun for Vault of Magic for 5e from Kobold Press. Here's what I know. A trove of powerful new magic for 5e. The wizard peered through the hole in the tunnel wall and into the darkness of the ancient vault beyond. She murmured a few arcane words, searching for any telltale magical auras. Then she gasped. What is it? The warrior demanded, holding the lantern and trying to look over her shoulder. What do you see? Something wondrous. Inside Vault of Magic, you'll find a vast treasure trove of enchanted items of every imaginable use. more than 900 in all. There are plenty of armors, weapons, potions, rings, and wands, and that's just for starters. From mirrors to masks, edibles to earrings, and lanterns to lockets, it's all here, ready for you to use in your 5th edition game. This 240-page volume includes more than 30 unique items developed by special guests, including Patrick Rothfuss, Gail Simone, Deborah Ann Wall, and Luke Gygax. Who are these people? Who? I know who all of those are. I did not realize that Gail Simone plays D&D, though. That's got to be recent because I follow her on Twitter, and she has asked in the past, I can't tell you how recently, but I remember her asking people what they thought of Dungeons and Dragons and if she should give it a try. So I think Gail's fairly new to role-playing games. Also includes fabled items that grow in power as characters rise in levels. New item themes, such as monster-inspired, clockwork, and apprentice wizards. There's hundreds of full-color illustrations. 25 treasure generation tables sorted by rarity and including magic items from the core rules. Amaze and delight your players and spice up your 5th edition campaign with fresh, new, enchanted items from the Vault of Magic. It'll turn that next treasure hoard into something wondrous. The 240-page hardcover can be pre-ordered, not pre-orders. English, Jeff. For $49.99 or $54.99 if you want to include the PDF. PDF's also going to be available at Drive-Thru RPG for $29.99. This successfully kickstarted. It is good to go. I got to be honest, though, I don't know when it will ship out. It's supposed to be October. That's all I know is some point in October, these pre-orders will ship. So I'm going to assume that the PDF for Vault of Magic will arrive on Drive-Thru RPG as well sometime later this month. I got to say, I like the artwork. Looks pretty cool. And 900 different magic items. People love magic items. Nicholas says they're old school. They love low-level play. I agree. As long as it's not now you're tasked with killing the giant rats in the basement of the tavern, or your game starts, all your characters are in a tavern. Do you know? All righty, moving right along to our last news piece. Now available from Parts Per Million is Worlds Without Number Ruinous Explorations. Here's the deets. Ruinous Explorations solo rules compatible with Worlds Without Number. Worlds Without Number is Kevin Crawford's fantasy old school Renaissance game of sandbox adventure. The rules in this supplement add solo play to that game. It uses a simple set of rules to push decisions out to dice rolls. These answer yes-no style questions, control NPCs and events outside your character's control. There's an icon-driven oracle for creating concepts. These are used to answer questions that cannot be answered yes or no, and for creating features of your adventures. There's also the technique of custom oracles. These are simple D6 tables with 4 entries, 2 more common and 2 less common. You'll create these on the fly as you play. They add a level of detail that is perfectly customized to your style of play. There are plenty of examples of creating these instant bespoke tables. The 36-page PDF of Worlds Without Number Ruinous Explorations is available right now at Drive-Thru RPG for $4.95. Very nice. Sammy did a review of Worlds Without Number, and she really liked it quite a bit. I got to be honest, I have not taken a peek. And I also have to be honest, I have never played a true role-playing game, solitaire. It doesn't jump out at me. It doesn't say, oh yes, got to check it out. It's just, I don't know. To me, I like the role-playing games where, you got a GM and, there's interaction. But hey, I get it. I understand. Not everybody has that opportunity. So if you can play, that's why I think Four Against Darkness is so popular, is because it's, effectively GM-less. Kevin says, ooh, they have Worlds Without Number. They might need to get this. Well, if you need to get this or essentially anything from Drive-Thru RPG, please keep in mind the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, are affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, Drive-Thru RPG, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a little portion of that sale. All those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like my videos, if you like this channel, if you like thegaminggang.com, and you'd like to buy me a cup of coffee or soft drink, you can simply go to paypal.me/thegaminggang. And once again, I do want to thank the Madman for an extremely generous contribution to the Gaming Gang. It is much appreciated. Thank you so much. So that's it for the news tonight. So we zipped through that at a pretty good rate. So as I mentioned earlier, I said, I'm a little salty today. A little bit. Because I just couldn't sleep last night knowing that Superman's now gay. Come on. So I'm not going to harp on this a lot, but I sit here and I think to myself, part of the problem with society these days is everyone's opinion is stupidly assessed equality, right? So, and the reason why I say this is, okay, so first of all, it's not Clark Kent that DC Comics has decided to be bisexual. It is Lois Lane and Clark Kent's son, who also does go by the moniker Superman, which is a little weird. But he's not a real person. This isn't real. It's like I remember years ago when they killed Peter Parker off in the Spider-Man comics. As I've mentioned this before, it's Dan Slott got death threats from people, and these people were serious. And it's like, it's a comic book character. It's not a real person. Plus, you knew damn well they weren't going to leave Peter Parker dead. It's like when they killed Steve Rogers, you knew they weren't going to keep him dead. It's usually about 12 months, and then they, here you go. But here's the thing that frosts my ass, I guess we'll say. So Boris is with us in chat. So Superman now changes costumes in a closet. Kevin even mentions, funny thing, it's not even the original Superman. No, it's not. It's not Clark Kent. But here's what I feel is very disingenuous is you'll see that some of these news networks, they'll bring on any ass clown who has absolutely no connection to the comic book industry. And then they sit there and they whinge about Superman's son being bisexual. And it's like, since when do we assess importance to the opinions of people who should not matter? It's ridiculous. When I had, had to have my heart taken care of, I didn't go down to the service station and ask the mechanic about it. I went to an expert, right? That's what just drives me nuts is it's like you have people who know things and you have people who don't know things. And the people who don't know things get in front of camera and lie. Well, Superman's now gay. No, Superman is not gay. And I gotta be honest, I think part of the problem why we have this is this silly ass wokeness where it's like suddenly, everybody's opinion is important. And it's like, no, it is not. Your opinion is important if you have an informed, knowledgeable opinion. If you pull facts out of your ass, your opinion does not matter. It shouldn't matter. It's like we're setting up our society for failure. So what it is, like I said, I'm a little salty today about this. And like I said, people are getting worked up about something so stupid because it's not real. It's a comic book. And the other thing is all these people are like, that's it. I'm never buying a DC comic again. Guess what? They never bought DC Comics in the first place. That's another thing I just drives me nuts is this faux outrage sort of boycott of things. Well, I've never bought that before, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to tell people I'm never buying that, even though I never did buy it, but still, I'm not buying it. It's like, what? Nicholas says, Ben Reilly's the real Spider-Man. Right. Ben Reilly's the real Spider-Man. J. Jonah Jameson's the real Spider-Man, damn it. Thought you all knew that. Speaking of comics, I'm actually going to Wizard World Chicago on Friday. It will be the last Wizard World Chicago because Wizard World has sold their conventions off to another company. Boy, that's a company that fell on hard times, lost a lot of money. I don't know if anybody out there remembers Wizard Magazine. It was all comic stuff, and it was some action figure stuff as well. And their conventions used to be excellent. I got some exclusive variants that were graded by having a VIP ticket. That's all gone. They don't do that anymore at the Wizard World convention. So, I don't know. It should be fun. I'm going to go with my brother. We have press passes, but I always jokingly refer to it as the Dirt Con. Kind of like the Dirt Mall in Mallrats. Yeah, so I call it the Dirt Con. All right. On to taking a first look at Pathfinder, Night of the Gray Death from Paizo Inc. This is written by Ron Lundeen. This 72-page softcover does carry an MSRP of $22.99, or you can snag the PDF as of today for $15.99. We are also going to take a look at the flip mat that comes, I shouldn't say comes with the adventure. It's available for this adventure. That carries an MSRP of $14.99, or you can grab the PDF for $10.49. So before we swing over to the other camera, Kevin says, Isaac Asimov used to rant about the idea that equality means that one person's ignorance is as good as another person's knowledge. Yeah, I think Isaac Asimov had it kind of right there. Hey, I'm a firm believer everyone has value. All I'm saying is I don't believe people who spew disinformation or cannot be bothered to learn facts. I just don't believe that their opinions are as valid as those who do. So Nicholas says, people demand things be canceled and they never bought from the company in the first place. Right. Yeah, exactly. But the companies so often capitulate anyway. Yeah. That's true. I mean, let's be honest. We can smell pandering from companies pretty easily, usually. All right. I just wanted to float that out there because I thought it was so silly. And then once again, I have to point out, Twitter's not the world. Twitter is not the real world. I know there are just far too many people, organizations, companies, corporations who all think if they see people complaining on Twitter that reflects the real world, and it certainly does not. So they need to learn that lesson pretty well also. All right, let's swing on over to the other camera because here we've got Pathfinder Knight of the Gray Death. Few things. First off, the fine folks over at Paizo Inc. were kind enough to send along this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this first look with you. These days, it's important for you to know that. Also, this is not a review. I have not cracked this open. I have not looked at the back of this until last night during the show to find out what level it was for, which we found out it was level 16. So this is not a review. This is just a first look. Also want to point out that I am going to stay picture in picture up here in the corner. I am going to be cutting off the upper left corner of the book, and we are not going to look at each and every page. This is not some deep dive into this adventure. I want to give folks a feel for what this adventure is kind of like, what they can sort of look forward to. But also want to mention that if you're hoping your game master is going to run this adventure, you're a player, I am going to recommend that you end the show now. See ya. Thanks for coming by. There are over 1,000 videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. Check one of those out because you don't want to, get spoilers. Even though we're not looking at everything and I don't know anything really about this adventure, you're going to see some spoilers. So Omanal says, turn off the TV and watch the Gaming Gang instead. Thank you, Omanal. And welcome to chat. Good to see you swinging on in tonight to hang out. Let's take a look at the back. Don't lose your head. Yeah, I did notice there was a guillotine on the front cover. Galt's executioners, the masked Grey Gardeners, behead the guilty and innocent alike with their magical guillotines. Few have the courage to stand against them, so powerful heroes must infiltrate the Grey Gardeners and put an end to their reign of terror. Pathfinder Adventure Knight of the Grey Death is a deluxe gothic horror adventure for 16th level characters written by Ron Lundeen. It exposes the secrets of the Grey Gardeners with new monsters, new magic items, and new challenges to test the mightiest heroes. Mysteries and intrigue abound during the Night of the Grey Death. So Omanal says, got to give Jeff credit asking people not to watch his show because there's spoilers. Well, I would think that goes without saying, but, I just say it anyway. All right, let's jump on in here. So, as with just about every Pathfinder adventure, we're going to have a map on the front. I should say on the back of the front cover, and then we will have it on the front of the back cover, a different one. So we've got quite a few art credits here as well. I do like the cover art. I thought the cover art's pretty cool. They were sharing this other cover art, which was it looked like it was just kind of a placeholder, and I didn't care for it much. I do like that better. Now, I had mentioned yesterday that I thought that this was kind of giving off a vibe where maybe it was drawing inspiration from Mask of the Red Death. And I forget who it was in chat, but they did point out that I guess Ron Lundeen had mentioned that there is a lot of inspiration from Edgar Allan Poe in this. So right here, we see the Conqueror Worm. So we've got Chapter 1, Secrets of Litran. Revolution has been a way of life in Galt for more than 50 years. The country cut its ties with Imperial Cheliax in the Red Revolution of 4667 AR. So this seems to be a country that is on the brink, probably ruled by elites who are on the cover having a party wearing their masks. Getting started as 16th level characters, the heroes have undoubtedly earned a great deal of fame and met with movers and shakers throughout the Inner Sea region. Should come as little surprise then when they receive an urgent invitation from Camellia Dronach, leader of Galt's Revolutionary Council. So that's how they're going to get brought in. And there is that rather important NPC right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to skip every few pages here. Like I said, we're not going to look at each and every page. Thus quoth the Raven. So that is, looks like it's another major NPC there. So it looks like we're getting a breakdown of some of the set pieces in the adventure. Talking about the mask, Grey Gardeners, the mask attendees. So I guess that's the ball. Nicholas says they're a sucker for Poe-inspired adventures. Flaming Heron says they can't remember the last time they played such a high-level adventure. I think usually part of the reason behind that, I think high-level adventure, especially fantasy role-playing games, as Omenal says, nevermore. It's Omen Raven now. I think high-level adventures are difficult to pull off. High-level adventuring, I think, is difficult to pull off, especially when you get that huge amount of power creep in a lot of role-playing games. And, once characters get to something like about 15th level in most fantasy role-playing games that have a level range that high, by then now suddenly they're almost like demigods. Get to level 20 and they're probably battling established deities. And that can be really tough to pull off. So this is the Grey Gardener Enforcer. Hey, I'm Enzio. And this looks like this is Miss Whisper, who may be a prisoner. Looks like they might be a prisoner here. What is this? Carnival now? Carnival comes to town? Umno Havlex. Hey there, buddy. Kevin says so many campaigns peter out before high level. If you run it as a one shot, it takes forever to make high level characters. Yeah, that is a good point, especially in either edition of Pathfinder. So Omenal says it reminds them of Hellraiser. Speaking of the Hellraiser, I understand that they are rebooting Hellraiser. I think they're doing a TV series. And was it? Isn't it? Wasn't the character called Pinhead? The leader? I want to say it's Pinhead. It's been so long since I've seen any of those movies. I guess they're making that character female. So they're switching things up. Looks like we've got some more NPCs here. So we're still looking at the first chapter here, Secrets of Litteran. So he says, I'm biting my tongue, not give away spoilers. That's right, because Kevin's doing the review for Night of the Grey Death. Oh, look at this. Some crazy looking masks there. Poison delicacies. Delicious. Now we're in Mask of the Grey Death, which I guess the mask represents a ball. And I got to be honest, that might be the case in the Edgar Allan Poe story too. So that is a possibility. I never even thought of that. I always thought the Mask of the Red Death is the mask that the plague carrier is wearing. Omenal says they're getting Castle Amber vibes. That's a blast from the past. That is a great adventure. That is an adventure that starts off and the players all think, oh, this is gonna be kind of light and funny. And it's like, no. It won't be. It'll get very dark and deadly. So we have a pageant. We've got a Grey Gardener assassin here. Artwork looks pretty cool. I do have to mention that this is a little bit longer page count wise than usual $22.99 soft covers. So normally, and I can't say for certain because it's not as if I've seen every adventure path for both Pathfinder and Starfinder for like second edition Pathfinder and Starfinder. But usually the page count at $22.99 is like 64 pages. So this is a little bit longer by a few pages, not by a ton, but just by a few. So, chapter 3, Writhing in the Crypts. Yes, yes. So we got a banshee. Another NPC here. A pendulum pit. Yeah. Yeah, there's obviously inspiration here. Omanel points out that they know that the adventure is based on Poe stories also. Flaming Heron says those masks had to be thinking of the ones from We Happy Few. If you know, oh yeah, if you know the PC game, yeah, that is. I've never played it, but I have seen some of the art style, some of the character designs, and they are pretty wild. It seems almost like a bit of a Clockwork Orange kind of vibe to it as well. It's the three-faced regent. All right, so then we get into a gazetteer. So the adventure itself runs. We had a little bit of an introduction here. So the adventure runs about 51 pages. So that's a good amount. This is not just a one shot that you're going to rock through in an evening. So there's quite a bit to this. So we've got the gazetteer here talking about Litrin. So we've got some of the NPCs, notable locations. Maybe it's some of the proprietors of the different shops in the town, because I think it's just a town. So we get the Grey Gardener archetype. There we go. Some feats. Got the Conqueror Worm. So we've got a little bit of a gazetteer with some new creatures. And then, as I mentioned, we've got another map on the front of the back cover. So Flaming Heron says, yes, that game definitely has Clockwork Orange vibes. So that is Night of the Grey Death. We're going to take a quick look here at the flip mat that is available for this as well. Once again, the adventure itself clocks in at 72 pages. It is a soft cover. The adventure is written by Ron Lundeen. Does carry an MSRP of $22.99. Or, as of today, you can get the PDF for $15.99. I believe the street date on that is also October 26th. So here's the flip mat. And it looks like we've got the two maps that we had on the front and back covers with 1-inch squares on it. So this is the grand ballroom is what this area is. And it is 8 by 11 or 8.5 by 11, it looks like. Panels here. Of course, you can see there's some sheen to this. And that is because the flip mats and the flip tiles are treated with a coating so you can use even permanent marker and remove it off of these. So this is the ballroom. And then I think this is it's the Worm's Lair. So this is where the Conqueror Worm is. And I think the Conqueror Worm is the big, like, climactic battle that's going to take place. So that is the Worm's Lair. It's like it might be a catacomb. It's like these might be sarcophagi. And then we also have a side room here. Got clap statue. Cool. Once again, the flip mat is available for $14.99, or you can snag the PDF for $10.49. And usually I say I'll have a review of Night of the Great Death in the very near future, but I have to say Kevin will have a review of Night of the Great Death in the very near future as well. All right, let's swing back over to the other camera here. Looks kind of interesting. Of course, I'll be checking this out, but Kevin's doing the review. Also, should point out, I could send Kevin an email, but I might as well just tell him right here, is that we're talking about him possibly doing a review for a new role-playing game called Eldritch Century, and I just received it. So, Kevin, if you have a chance, reach out, shoot me an email, because I just sent along another game for him to review. So if you feel confident that you can take care of both those reviews, let me know, because I will get you a copy of the Eldritch Century. I think it's the core book that they sent along. So Flaming Heron says, Kevin will have a review. Nice one. All right, so what's cooking next week? Well, let me grab some of this stuff. On Monday's show, we are going to take a peek at the new edition of Galaxy Trucker from Czech Games Edition. I had an opportunity to talk to, oh my gosh, now off the top of my head, I forgot her name. Ray. I talked to Ray from Czech Games Edition at Gen Con. We talked about this quite a bit, how the game has been streamlined. It's a lower priced entry into the game as well. And I have never played Galaxy Trucker. I know about the game. My best friend, Elliot Miller, he's played it umpteen times. I just have never played it. So he's a big fan. So we will get to see what's going on with this new edition of Galaxy Trucker. Then on Tuesday, we're going to take a look at the latest. I believe this is the third release in the Iron Rails series from Capstone Games. That's right. It is Iberian Gauge that we are going to take a look at. And it's kind of funny because during my interview at Gen Con, talking about Capstone Games, I swear I kept referring to this as Iberian Rails, not Iberian Gauge. So, of course, this is an 18xx style game. I understand this Iron Rails or Iron Rail series is really well received. So going to definitely be interested in checking this out. Then on Wednesday, we will look at a role-playing game release. I do have some items that are supposedly in transit. So I don't want to reveal what they are yet, in case, because shipping right now is taking a while, and now mail is taking longer here in the States also. But we will have a first look at a role-playing game title of some sort next Wednesday. So that's what's cooking on the dispatch next week. Do want to also mention that we're currently in the midst of the Gaming Gang October Spooktacular 2021. What that means is each and every day throughout the month, you're going to find a new video on thegaminggang.com. And of course, right here on the Gaming Gang YouTube channel. And those videos are tabletop gaming related. So it could be a first look, like we did with Night of the Grey Death tonight. Could be a review, or if it's Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, it's this. It's this stream. This counts as a video. My God. How many videos do you think I can shoot? But that also means that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there's new videos. Just because I'm not doing the stream live doesn't mean you're not going to get some good tabletop gaming info of some sort. So keep that in mind. Also, each and every evening throughout October at 9 p.m. Central, swing by thegaminggang.com and check out one of my spooky old-time radio shows that I'm kind of hosting throughout the month. I have heard from some people on Twitter that they're really enjoying these old-time radio stories. So, and I've said time and time again, if you want to be a good game master running role-playing games, you should really check out old-time radio shows because it gives you a great sense of how to present the story using words alone. Now, yes, granted, there's sound effects too, but check out how a complete tale is crafted just through words. And I'm telling you, you listen to a few old-time radio shows, especially like mystery stuff or horror stuff, it'll make you a much better game master. I promise you this. Madman says, yes, they're definitely enjoying the old-time radio shows. They're so good. I've got some really scary ones. I think around the 16th, I will, and I've shared this one before, but I will put up the thing on the Forble board from Quiet Please, because I swear that is the creepiest old-time radio show that I have ever heard. And the funny thing is, if you think about the ending, it's even creepier. So if you're like, wait a second. So if that happened, then that means, ooh. This Spot 92 says the Iron Rail games from Capstone are really good. Yeah, like I said, I had heard. Flaming Heron says Jeff's a one-man army. Yeah, and I can only do so much. I should also mention that we've got a lot more Pathfinder coverage coming as well. As I already mentioned, we've got, I don't know, somebody in chat working on the Night of the Grey Death. I almost said Red Death. Night of the Grey Death review. But I also have Sammy's review of the third chapter in the Strength of Thousands adventure path, Hurricane's Howl. And that'll be up later on tonight. Very nice. 245 Trioxin has popped in just as we're wrapping up the show. Good to see you swinging in and saying howdy. Omanal's asking if I still need another reviewer for RPGs. I do. I actually do. I could certainly use at least one more. So, as I mentioned last night, if you are a reviewer for the Gaming Gang doing the PDF reviews, you actually get copies of stuff that other reviewers are working on. It's not simply, oh, you only get this. So it's kind of a nice bonus if you are, doing reviews for the Gaming Gang. So yes, Omanal, you can definitely reach out to me at jeffmcaleer@thegaminggang.com. What I always recommend, take a peek at some of the written reviews that we've got. And that is kind of what I'm looking for. You don't have to like write a novella about, an adventure, but I prefer, a good solid, 8 paragraphs, something like that. All righty. So if you like this video, by all means, give it damn, I forgot that again. Damn it. I keep forgetting the sponsors. See, that's what happens when you don't script this stuff out. Just sitting there like, yeah, hey, all right, so that's it for, whoa, crap, I forgot. Oh, Sarah D's popped in and said, I've been a distraction. Yeah, I'm actually a distraction for a lot of people. Her sister is being induced right now, baby number 5. Holy cow. But first one Sarah has not been in the room with her for. Wow. Well, so you're an anxious Annie. I can understand that completely. All the best to your sister. I'm sure everything will be fine. It'll be all good. So, big thumbs up. Homan L says it's baby birthing season. Is it? Is that what it is? Anyway, all through most of the month of October, that just didn't come out right, did it? Throughout most of the month of October, the Gaming Gang and the Gaming Gang Dispatch are being sponsored by RockCon, being held October 22nd, 23rd, and 24th in Rockford, Illinois. There's historical war games, there's miniature gaming, board games, role-playing games. There is a lot going on at RockCon. I do understand that they've got a lot of, I believe, naval war games going on too. That is something that has my interest peaked because I will be at RockCon. I will be there, I know, Friday and Saturday. Not sure if I will be there on Sunday. So definitely, if you are in the Midwest, maybe you're in Wisconsin or Illinois or Lower Michigan, Iowa, Kentucky. Kentucky's not the Midwest. Anyway, if you are somewhere in the vicinity of the Chicago area, consider checking it out. Like I said, I'll be there. And if you decide to attend, be sure to say howdy. Sarah says, thanks. It's been a rough pregnancy, complicated by losing their mother at the beginning of the year. I'm sorry to hear that. But they are super excited to have something to celebrate. Yes. Celebrate. Could have celebrated the 700th episode of this live stream, though. Speaking of this episode, which isn't the 700th, it's the 703rd. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. They'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also inform you when I upload other videos, such as my first look at Dungeons & Dragons, Fizbin's Treasury of Dragons from Wizards of the Coast, that according to a few people in chat, people are angry about. And if you'd like to win my copy of the alternate art edition of the book that people are angry about, by all means, check out my first look video and I'll tell you how to get into the running. And I gotta be honest, it's pretty easy. I never make the contest that difficult. Alrighty, everybody enjoy the rest of the week. Have a great weekend. I will be back on Monday. As I mentioned, we're going to take a look at Galaxy Trucker on Monday. Those of you who were watching live, thanks so much. I always appreciate people taking some time out to hang out and keep me company while I just, carry on like I do. Like I've got serious issues of some sort. But I know other people out there don't have an opportunity to watch live. And I appreciate you also checking out the videos, even if you're doing it on Memorex. Thank you very much. Everybody, like I said, enjoy the rest of the week. Have a great weekend. And of course, I will be back on Monday. And here's hoping each and every one of you has an opportunity to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your very own gang. Oh, you're still here. Well, while you're kicking it, how about subscribing to the Gaming Gang channel or seeing the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch or finding out what YouTube recommends you check out here at my channel. And of course, don't forget, Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com.